The Chicago Sky teammates of Angel Reese, Ariel Atkins, Rachel Banham, Courtney Vandersloot, three ladies which were targeted in that hit piece that Angel Reese slid underneath the table. Yeah, they responded. Not only did they respond, but the Chicago Sky responded as well.
What happens when a franchise player stops believing in the very team she's supposed to lead? This isn't just another sports drama. It's the shocking downfall of a relationship that was supposed to define Chicago basketball for years to come. Angel Reese arrived in Chicago as a beacon of hope, a rebounding machine destined to lift the Sky from mediocrity to championship contention. But in a stunning twist that nobody saw coming, she's become the very problem she vowed to solve. This is a story of how talent alone isn't enough, how leadership can make or break a career, and how the Chicago Sky found themselves at a crossroads with their most famous player. Stick around, because what we've uncovered about this situation will change how you view athlete-team relationships forever.
At this point, it's over. That whole Sky Barbie thing, that thing is over. Angel Reese is done in Chicago. They're going to move on.
It began with what should have been a routine media interview. Angel Reese sat down with the Chicago Tribune and unleashed what can only be described as a verbal assault on her own organization. "I'm not settling for the same stuff we did this year," Reese declared, drawing a line in the sand that would reverberate throughout the entire WNBA. She didn't stop there. She demanded better players, questioned the front office's commitment to winning, and essentially issued an ultimatum: improve this roster or I'm out. The message was clear. What Chicago had wasn't good enough, and Reese wasn't going to waste her prime years on a sinking ship.
Let's see what Angel Reese had to say. "I'm not settling for the same shit we did this year." Oh boy. Reese told the Tribune, "We have to get good players. We have to get great players. That's a non-negotiable for me. I'm willing and wanting to play with the best. And however I can help to get the best here, that's what I'm going to do this offseason. So it's going to be very, very important this offseason to make sure we attract the best of the best, because we can't settle for what we have this year. Overhaul this."
But the most damaging comments weren't directed at management. They were aimed squarely at her teammates. Reese specifically called out veteran point guard Courtney Vandersloot, a two-time WNBA champion and five-time All-Star, suggesting she was too old to rely upon. "We can't rely on Courtney come back at the age that she's at," Reese stated, dismissing the veteran's contributions despite Vandersloot having left a championship-caliber team in New York to help Chicago rebuild. The disrespect was palpable, and it didn't go unnoticed in a league where veterans have earned their stripes through years of dedication and sacrifice. The organization's response was swift and telling.
"We can't rely on Courtney to come back at that age that she's at," Reese said. "I know she'll be a great asset for us, but we can't rely on that. We need someone probably a little younger with some experience, somebody who's been playing the game and is willing to compete for a championship and has done it before." Courtney Vandersloot, by the way, two-time WNBA champion, five-time All-Star, two-time All-WNBA first team, left the New York Liberty, a championship caliber team, to come help out the Chicago. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, dang. Oh, damn. It's all right, Courtney.
The Chicago Sky suspended Reese for the first half of their September 7th game against the Las Vegas Aces, citing statements detrimental to the team in an official statement. Coach Tyler Marsh called it a top-down organizational decision, making it clear that this punishment came from the highest levels of the franchise. The message was clear: no player, no matter how talented or popular, is bigger than the team. But the suspension was only part of the story. Behind the scenes, teammates were furious. Reports emerged that players planned to confront Reese directly in a team meeting about her comments.
You can tell it's just some turmoil going on in Chicago right now, and it kind of brings up the question, like, what is going to happen with Angel Reese at this point? I think she's done playing.
Multiple league sources confirmed that the entire team had seen Reese's comments and that teammates were unhappy with the direct attacks. This wasn't just management being upset. This was a fracture in the very foundation of the locker room, the kind of rift that can define a franchise for years to come. The irony? This suspension came just as Reese was serving another one-game suspension for picking up her 8th technical foul of the season against the Connecticut Sun. The pattern was becoming impossible to ignore. While Reese was criticizing everyone else, she was accumulating on-court discipline issues at an alarming rate. The player demanding more professionalism from her organization was simultaneously demonstrating a lack of it herself.
Beginning of the season, you was missing mad layups. You was shooting like 27% on layups. I saw Ariel Atkins at the podium holding you down. I didn't see none of your teammates going in the media blasting your ass for not being able to make a damn layup. We haven't seen none of your teammates come out and flame you for how you was missing layups back to back to back to back to back. You had like 8 straight games where these dudes won hundreds of thousands of dollars betting that you would miss your first shot. None of your teammates came out and embarrassed you publicly. They held you down and supported you.
Here's what makes the situation so complex. Reese wasn't entirely wrong in her assessment of the Chicago Sky organization. In a recent survey conducted by The Athletic, WNBA players anonymously voted the Sky as the worst-run organization in the entire league. The facts support this harsh assessment. The team is poised to finish with its worst record since the franchise's first year of existence in 2006. This isn't just a bad season, it's institutional failure on multiple levels. The problems run deeper than just wins and losses. While other WNBA teams enjoy state-of-the-art practice facilities funded by billionaire owners with ties to the NBA, the Sky still practice at the Saks Recreation Center in Deerfield, Illinois, a facility open to the public that one source compared to a local community center. Their long-promised private practice facility has been delayed until 2026, and even then it's located in an inconvenient spot near Midway Airport rather than somewhere easily accessible to players.
I would be highly surprised if Angel Reese is on the Chicago Sky's roster come the start of the 2026 or the 2027 season. The Chicago Sky, they might be saying to themselves, Angel Reese just isn't worth the headache that she is causing. Great rebounder. As for everything else, she's not worth the headache that she's causing.
This isn't just about luxury. It's about providing professional athletes with the resources they need to succeed at the highest level. The front office decisions have been equally questionable. General Manager Jeff Pagliacca has been criticized for a series of disastrous moves, including trading the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 draft to Washington for Ariel Atkins. That pick became Sonia Citron, a Rookie of the Year candidate for the Mystics, while Atkins has battled injuries and played out of position. The Sky also gave Minnesota complete ownership of their 2026 first-round pick to acquire Haley Van Lith, potentially allowing the Lynx to snatch a top-tier talent. These aren't just minor miscalculations. They're franchise-altering mistakes that have left Chicago with limited assets and even less hope for rapid improvement. The response from Reese's teammates ranged from disappointed frustration to outright dismissal.
Well, it goes to show, if you're going to go at a legend, you better not miss. As we know, Angel Reese come out this week. She absolutely crushed her own teammates into the dust. And she even decided to go after a legend. The legendary Courtney Vandersloot, who of course blew out her ACL at the beginning of the season. And she is in the midst of making a comeback. And of course, Angel Reese made some comments that were none too kind to a legend.
Veteran Elizabeth Williams tried to find middle ground, noting, "She obviously doesn't want to disrespect us or anything like that." Ultimately, I think the goal of the interview was just to share things she wanted to see in the future for the team and improvements that could be made. This measured response suggested that at least some players were trying to maintain professionalism despite the public criticism. But others were less diplomatic. Ariel Atkins, who was acquired in the much-criticized trade that sent Sonia Citron to Washington, appeared visibly frustrated when addressing the situation. "I think I just don't really care," Atkins stated bluntly. "I'm so over all of this. If I was younger, it would have affected me more. But I'm grown and I just don't care. We just here trying to do our jobs on a day-to-day." This wasn't just anger. It was exhaustion, the kind of weariness that comes from dealing with unnecessary drama.
As here, Tyler Marsh called it a top-down organizational decision, declined to share which comments were viewed as detrimental. Atkins implied the team supported the decision. Ownership handled it how they see fit. She told the Sun-Times, a shooter on Friday, "They have full support from our team."
When you're just trying to do your job. Most telling was Courtney Vandersloot's response to the comments about her age. Contrary to what people say or think, "My age is actually not a factor," Vandersloot fired back. I am coming back. I'm going to come back better than ever because that's what I've done to put myself in a position to come back and compete even at this age.
Sky Nation expect to see you back here next year?
Oh, absolutely. You know, contrary to what people say or think, my age is absolutely not a factor. I am coming back. I'm going to come back better than ever because that's what I've done. I put myself in a position to come back and compete even at this age.
Better than ever. Thank you so much, Lou.
The veteran wasn't going to let her legacy be dismissed by a second-year player, regardless of how talented that player might be. Perhaps what makes Reese's situation most interesting is how it contrasts with another prominent young star in the league. While Reese was publicly criticizing her teammates and organization, Caitlin Clark was leading the Indiana Fever on a surprising push toward playoff contention. The difference in approach couldn't be more striking. Where Reese demanded better players around her, Clark focused on elevating the players already on her team. The statistics reveal an uncomfortable truth about Reese's season. Despite her criticism of others, Reese leads the entire WNBA in turnovers despite missing nearly a month of action due to suspension and injury.
Angel Reese will be lucky if she has a third of the career that Courtney Vandersloot has had. I don't think it was Kennedy Carter that blew that locker room up. I think it was Angel Reese. There, I said it out loud. I think it was continuous drama.
Her efficiency has improved from her rookie season, rising from 46.4% true shooting to 53.7%. But she still has significant limitations in her game, including no shooting range and spotty finishing touch. The gap between her self-perception and her actual performance has become impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, reports began surfacing that the Sky actually looked sharper without Reese on the floor. The ball moved faster, the offense appeared less chaotic, and players seem to play with more freedom.
And watching the bottom of your screen. The contact by Reese.
You can see Angel's right hand got Aaliyah Edwards on the head. And if they do, Lisa, I'm okay with that too, because I think you have to officiate these teams very tightly.
So it'll be a technical foul on Angel.
In a devastating indictment of Reese's impact, veteran Rachel Banham summed up the feeling of many when she said flatly, "I think I just don't really care. I'm so over all of this." When your absence is met with relief rather than concern, your value to the team must be seriously questioned. Complicating matters further was the mysterious nature of Reese's mid-season absence due to a back injury. While Reese had dealt with back issues throughout the season, the timing and communication around this particular episode raised eyebrows.
Indiana Fever destroy the Chicago Sky in Indianapolis on Saturday. Guess who wasn't there? Angel Reese. Angel Reese declined to travel to Indianapolis, and her coach came out and said something about, she's just focused on her rehab right now, and, she's day to day. We've never had an explanation on what caused the back injury, what's a time frame for her recovery. It's similar to so-and-so's back injury. This is something she struggled with here or there. All we've heard is day to day, and Angel Reese has disappeared.
Coach Tyler Marsh stated that Reese reported the injury during pregame and that the team wanted to be as cautious as possible in conjunction with medical staff. But the lack of detailed information about the nature of the injury or recovery timeline led to speculation about whether there was more to the story. What made this particularly noticeable was how other players around the league handled injury situations. Caitlin Clark, even when unable to play for the Fever, remained glued to the sidelines, guiding teammates during timeouts, applauding good plays, and showing engagement that demonstrated her commitment to the team. Reese, by contrast, didn't always travel with the team while injured, leading to questions about her investment in the Sky beyond her own personal performance. The pattern that emerged was one of a player who wanted the privileges of stardom without the responsibilities of leadership. Reese was quick to demand better treatment from the organization and better players around her, but slower to acknowledge her own shortcomings, the turnovers, the technical fouls, the defensive lapses that contributed to the Sky's struggles. True leaders understand that credibility comes from holding yourself to the same standard you demand from others.
Chicago Sky values the safety, respect, and well-being of every player. We are committed to accountability so our players can stay focused on playing basketball. Because of statements detrimental to the team made by Angel Reese during league-mandated media, she will not play in the first half of the game on September 7th against the Las Vegas Aces. This matter has been handled and resolved internally, and we are moving forward as a team.
As the season wound down, the question became inevitable. Had Angel Reese played her final game for Chicago Sky? The relationship appeared damaged beyond repair, with Reese questioning the organization's commitment to winning and the organization punishing Reese for her public criticism. The situation had reached a stalemate that typically only ends one way in professional sports, with a trade. An anonymous WNBA executive didn't mince words when assessing the situation. She needs to get out of there. Chicago is probably the worst-run organization in the league. You're going to suspend your best player just because she's putting pressure on you to get better? That was embarrassing to see. But the same executive also predicted that Chicago might try to trade Reese in the offseason, recognizing that the relationship might be beyond repair. The tragedy of the situation is that both sides have legitimate points. Reese isn't wrong that the Sky have been poorly run and need significant upgrades to compete at the highest level. But the Sky aren't wrong that Reese's approach, public criticism of teammates, excessive turnovers, and disciplinary issues, undermines rather than strengthens their efforts to improve.
Angel Reese facing her first bit of accountability here in the WNBA. Unapologetically, Angel, the Chicago Sky don't care about any of that right now. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about go out and say what you want. Be unapologetic. They have no time for that. They have a business to run. They have teammates that they care about, players on the roster that they're looking for. You know what? We got to send a message. This isn't cool to Vandersloot. This isn't cool to Banham. This isn't cool to Haley Van Lith. We got to show the other players on the roster we have your back as well.
Sometimes both parties can be right in their assessments but wrong in their approaches, creating a divide that cannot be bridged. The unraveling of Angel Reese's relationship with the Chicago Sky provides a textbook case study in how not to handle organizational frustration. There's a world where Reese could have expressed the exact same concerns through private channels rather than public criticism. She could have led by example rather than by accusation, focusing on improving her own game before demanding improvements from others. She could have built alliances within the organization rather than burning bridges. The contrast with established veterans like Courtney Vandersloot is particularly instructive. Vandersloot has built a career on consistency, professionalism, and elevating those around her, precisely the qualities Reese needs to develop to maximize her considerable talents.
Is looking spooky in Chicago. Instead, Reese said she doesn't believe her teammates Rachel Berman or Haley Van Lith are capable of leading them to the leading the playoff team. Guard Ariel Atkins is another player on the Sky roster with WNBA championship experience. We are aware of it, Marsh stated. We are addressing it.
Great players make their teammates better not just through their skills, but through their approach to the game and their commitment to collective success over individual recognition. What makes the situation particularly poignant is that Reese's underlying message, that the Sky need to be more ambitious and demand more from themselves, is exactly what a struggling franchise needs to hear. But the messenger matters as much as the message, and the delivery determines whether that message will be received as constructive criticism or destructive selfishness. Reese learned the hard way that how you say something often matters more than what you say. The Angel Reese era in Chicago appears to be ending not with a celebration of what could have been, but with a sober acknowledgement of what went wrong. This isn't just about basketball. It's about how professionals in any field navigate the delicate balance between ambition and empathy, between frustration and diplomacy, between individual goals and team success. The Chicago Sky face a critical offseason decision about whether to build around Reese or trade her for assets that might better fit their culture. Reese herself must decide whether she wants to be the kind of player who elevates organizations or the kind who tears them down. Both face difficult questions with no easy answers. What remains undeniable is that the WNBA is better with personalities like Angel Reese, passionate, outspoken, and unafraid to demand better. But passion without purpose is just noise. The hope for Reese, whether in Chicago or elsewhere, is that she channels her undeniable competitive fire in ways that build up rather than tear down, that unite rather than divide, that create rather than destroy. The fundamental truth that Reese discovered, and that every professional eventually learns, is that you can be right about what needs to change, but wrong about how to change it. The measure of a player isn't just in their rebounding numbers or double-doubles, but in their ability to make everyone around them better. By that measure, despite all her talent and potential, Angel Reese still has much to learn. If you made it this far, you clearly appreciate deep sports analysis. Show us some love by hitting that like button and subscribing to stay updated on all our latest content. The WNBA offseason is about to get crazy, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Let us know in the comments whether you think the Sky should trade Reese or try to repair their relationship.